That sounds a bit pagan to me. Maybe that is really hindering her from giving her full life to Christ because she's not surrendering those things. Again, where is all that coming from? What's kind of going on there? What's up? Welcome to the Snipe Life, where we look at creativity through the lens of Christianity. My name's Brandon, and we're going to be diving into Season 3, Episode 4 of The Chosen. We're halfway through the season, guys. This is actually crazy, but we're going to be looking at a small scene today, specifically with Tamar and Mary, kind of breaking down this moment here. Really, really interesting stuff. I don't want to say this, but the more that I watch Tamar in this season, the less I like her. At least for now. I think eventually we're gonna kind of get more of an understanding of who she is and kind of what's going on. But until we get there, we'll kind of see. So let's play through this scene and let's talk a little bit about Tamar and just kind of her thoughts, and who she is overall, and also Mary, because I think we get a little bit of Mary's personality in this scene as well.
I am grateful to Matthew for letting us live here, but if this house has confirmed one thing, it's that having money is not the same as having taste.
So this is like the second or third time that we've seen Tamar kind of start to gossip and talk badly about different people, or, kind of like hold this feeling. Now, there's been some girl moments, right, in episode 1 and episode 2, where we see, Rayma and Mary and Tamar have these moments. I don't know. It just feels kind of weird to me. like, not that it's unrealistic, but like, I just feel like there's something that we're missing with her. Maybe because she's holding back certain parts of her past, or she's holding back, certain things that she's not telling people. Maybe that is really hindering her from giving her full life to Christ because she's not surrendering those things. And so it just feels like even Mary in this scene here is like, looking at her as if like she doesn't quite get it, like there's something that's being missed here. And they're not on the same page. It's strange, but I don't know. You guys tell me.
What do you mean? The curve of the leg of this table and the foot style, it was a brief trend 5 years ago.
Maybe he bought it 5 years ago.
And this, the aggressive orange pattern, raises the heart rate. So why Matthew is so anxious all the time?
He's not anxious because of a rug.
And there's a couple things going on here, right? Where we have Tamar, she's calling out these certain things. She's like Timothy's saying here, she is a bit of a snob, and she definitely comes from some sort of wealth, right? We can see that for sure. And we see this dichotomy between her and Mary, where Mary comes from the complete opposite side. She comes from a very impoverished family, and then her father died, which makes her even more impoverished, right? Which brings her to the place where then she's abused, and then she's in this horrible life cycle, right? And so now we're seeing Tamar coming from a completely different area, completely different lifestyle, coming from very high wealth, right? Seeing her clothing and who she is, it's obviously a different type of lifestyle that we're seeing her have. And Mary does not relate to that at all. But that's why she relates to Matthew, because Matthew doesn't care about the money as much as like he cares about fitting in with people, right? And or having power necessarily. So she understands that more. Even though Matthew's wealthy, she relates to him more than she does with Tamar. At least that's what we're seeing here. At least that's my observation. And she's having a little bit of a struggle with Tamar here. And especially because the second thing, because Mary likes Matthew, she's really struggling with trying to defend him here, right? Tamar's basically saying, your man ain't got no taste, right? But Mary's saying, like, she's trying to defend him here and saying, like, oh, maybe he bought it 5 years ago. Like, he's not anxious because of the rug, Tamar. And so here's the kind of heating up of this moment.
What's your point?
I don't think we'll be able to auction these off.
Auction?
The ministry needs financing, Mary. We can't rely on alms.
Now, let's keep this in mind for something that Tamar says later. She says, the ministry needs financing. We can't rely on alms. Now, alms is like offerings, right? People's giving to the ministry. We can't rely on that. Even though Jesus just sent out the 2x2 apostles, right? He just sent them out in order for them to rely on the goodness of other people. They didn't have anything to bring with them, not even a second pair of clothing, and yet they were taken care of. They still survived. They came back and they relied on God, right? So Tamar is not relying on God here. She's really focused on how she can control the situation. She's really focused on how she can kind of get through this this time, right? And so she's saying we have to sell off Matthew's stuff because we need more money. But let's keep that in mind because she says something else later that kind of goes against that a little bit.
We did mention the possibility of selling your jewelry.
I told you. It's not just jewelry. It's my family story. Each piece belonged to one of my ancestors. I carry their lives with me, wearing them on my body.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to be sensitive, Tamara, but honestly, that sounds like pagan.
This was exactly, like I almost had this exact same line in my head whenever I heard this moment. That sounds a bit pagan to me, right? Because during this time, I mean, we see it all over the place, even in Paul's writings, right? He's kind of talking about these different cults, right? There's like the cult of Artemis and different people like during that time that they did these very specific things, like have braids in their hair or have certain jewelry or wear this certain type of thing. And so when Paul warns against that, or even, you know, like God says, I don't want you to be like these other people, right? It's very clear that we want to differentiate ourselves as much as possible. And yet Tamar is kind of acting in a paganish way with these pieces of jewelry and these different things that she has. And so she's got these pieces of jewelry that kind of encompass her ancestors. And it's definitely like, it feels pagan-y to me. You guys let me know what you think. But Jay Murray says, but remember, Tamar is in a different place. She has not come to terms with her loss. Yes, I don't think she's completely done with her journey. I think that that's for sure the case. There's something that's hiding here, but also hiding in that is all of these things that she's taken along with her. She has all of this baggage, right? So we hear this all the time. And again, The Chosen does a great job at this where, yes, Jesus has saved you, but you still have a long journey to go. And I think Tamar is definitely on that journey. We can see it through her attitude, through the things that she says, through, you know, her clothing and all of that, right? She's very extravagant. I think that's going to change over time, just like it did for Matthew. And these pieces of jewelry and stuff are going to be less important to her than the mission, right? And she isn't Jewish. So it's a totally different place where she comes from, right?
Or like animism, which you may want to shed now that you're in this group.
It's not animism.
I don't know if the word animism would have been there or what they would have called it during that time, but we know it as animism, kind of this pagan tradition, sort of like keeping your ancestors with you throughout time, right? It's as if like, you know, a lot of Eastern religions do this, where they go to certain temples and, like, for example, there's a I think in India there's a temple that has rats everywhere, right? Thousands and thousands of rats, and they believe that these rats are their ancestors, and so they worship them, and they feed them, and they drink from the same things that they drink from, and it's really weird and gross and disgusting. But that's kind of the same sort of thing that Mary's like, hey, this is kind of alluding towards that. It's kind of similar to that. And it kind of makes me feel uncomfortable, especially coming from a Jewish background, right? Of like, nope, we are the only religion that has one God, right? And he is this guy, and and Yahweh is the God, right? And so this would make her very uncomfortable. And I totally get that too, because I would feel the same way.
It's honor. You don't know what I've been through.
You don't know what I've been through.
I've heard rumors.
So they haven't talked about what Mary's gone through as well. She's just heard rumors from probably Rama, probably from some other people around town. But Tamar is still not revealing, even after months of being with Mary, kind of what's going on here. And remember, this is past the time of the 2x2, so it's been at least a month at this point. where Tamar and Mary have kind of been on their own.
I'm sorry. I do have a past. As for the question of money, we should just leave it to Judas, the keeper of the purse.
And again, let's keep that in mind. As for money, we should just leave it up to Judas, the keeper of the purse. They're really trying to look for money, so much so that they're talking about selling Tamar's jewelry.
Please let it be Jesus.
I love that line. Please let it be Jesus.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Do you know, I realized the other day that I never quite apologized for the roof.
Oh, your faith is beautiful. Don't give it another thought. Do you ladies have a moment?
Of course.
Yes.
I've pressed a batch of olive oil. Will you give me your honest opinions? Tell me what you taste in it. What kind of a hole was that?
Yeah.
Need a minute.
Zebedee is awesome. I love Zebedee a lot. Nick is really, really cool. I've gotten to talk with Nick a few different times now, and he's just amazing. We got to talk about our channel and just chat about who he was and his role as Zebedee. Truly, he feels like he kind of slips into Zebedee, and it's a really, really good character for him to just slip into. Yeah, really, really cool. I love the big swing she takes here. Oh, gosh. So this is key. I am the daughter of one of 7 princes of my people. Why isn't she there? Why isn't she a princess, right? Why isn't she royalty? Why doesn't she have all this wealth? Why isn't she back there, right? There's a lot of questions for Tamar now. A lot of questions. Uh-oh, did the sound break? My bad. Let me see. See if I can fix it one more time. See if that works.
What do you think?
It's rancid.
Tamar.
No, it's okay. I need everyone to be honest. You only do me harm by flattery.
Let me go back here.
Ready?
I'll go back so you guys
I
can
know
hear.
I can count on you to tell me the truth.
Hold. Something between black pepper.
So right here.
I am the daughter of one of 7 princes.
So I am the daughter of one of 7 princes. Again, where is all that coming from? What's kind of going on there?
My people. The olive tree originated in Ethiopia and spread to the other nations.
You're certain it originated in Ethiopia?
I've traveled to
I think that's a contested point. Are you certain it originated in Ethiopia? I think that's a contested point that a lot of people are kind of like not sure exactly where it originated.
Egypt, Nubia, Anatolia, and I've sampled all of their finest oils. And
What do you think?
it's rancid.
No, it's okay. I need everyone to be honest. You only do me harm by flattery. Mary, I know I can count on you to tell me the truth.
Hold. Something between black pepper and vinegar.
Let's take a look at it. Mary, please. Hand me that.
So this is cool. I love how they're kind of building up the the business, right? As Jesus said in episode 3, they're going to have an olive oil business, but they didn't exactly know, they didn't know they were going to do that yet, but Jesus did, right? And so as he's kind of talking about it, now they're beginning to start it, now that they're back from the 2x2 and everything's kind of going through what's happening here. Now we see the pieces of what could make a really, really good team, right? We have Mary, and then we have Tamar and Zebedee, who are really like the big parts of that team. Tamar is really an expert on fine oils, but then we also get Zebedee, who can make a really amazing clarity of oil, and which we're about to see right here.
It's expertly racked and purged. See the clarity? Not a trace of solid matter.
Thank you. But what can be done about the taste?
Depends on the olives. Were they lighter green or darker green?
Dark, because they're the cheapest and they produce more oil.
But
So I feel like Mary becomes like the manager, right, of this whole situation. And then Tamar is like the expert and Zebedee is the worker, right? So everything kind of like works out in that way.
less flavor. The lighter the olives, the less oil they produce, but more flavor. The lighter, the brighter. Did you buy a press?
I leased one, along with the donkey that pulls the crushing stone.
And the olives?
I buy the...
So how this works in terms of making olive oil is you have a press in which it's like a big basin, right? Imagine a bowl with the center of the bowl raised up. So there's a big kind of curvature around. And then you have a donkey that pulls a stone that's on a big log, basically, that goes and crushes those olives around in a circle and just keeps on walking, keeps on crushing, right? And that's how you get the oil. And then eventually you keep on, making the oil, refining it to make it exactly what you want it to be. So he has leased a press and a donkey to do that work, which is really cool.
Buy them wholesale from the owner of a grove.
A reputable grove.
I think so. I mean, I think...
Could you arrange an introduction with the owner?
Of the grove or the press?
Both.
Tamar, what are you doing?
The woman, Joanna, from Herod's court that got Andrew into the prison to see John the Baptist. She gave a large donation to the ministry and urged us to find a way to multiply her gift.
So here is something that's really interesting to me. So again, earlier we come into Matthew's house and Tamar, her main purpose is to look for things to sell because they need money. But then here she says, Joanna made this huge donation to the ministry and she wants us to find a way to multiply it. So it's like, you're kind of like nitpicking here, right? Like, oh, we need to sell that candlestick. We need to sell that table. We need to sell that rug. But at the same time, you've just gotten this huge influx of money from Joanna in order for you to do something with it, in order to invest it, in order for you to multiply it, right? So why is her focus on selling Matthew's things instead of focusing on multiplying what they've been given from Joanna? It's just kind of interesting. I don't know where she's going with that. Not quite sure.
If we could.
This would go to my business?
But you just said she specified it's for the ministry.
Yes, but the profits from the oil business is how we will help multiply her gift.
We'll have to speak with Judas first. You'll have to be on board.
Well, where is he?
Andrew's flat, I think.
What are we waiting for? Come on, let's go.
So this scene kind of leaves off with Mary feeling kind of like off, right? She doesn't feel quite right about Tamar. She feels like something's wrong. This is definitely going to lead us to the big conversation that they're going to have later on. We know that that Mary and Tamar have a long, like 10-minute scene coming up, either in episode 5 or 6, probably. And so it's going to be intense, and I'm excited to see kind of how that plays out. Because Mary is such a great character in the way that she's been developed. And in this season, she's not as much this like helpless babe who's like crying, right? And she's like in danger and she needs rescue. She's more of a leader and she's kind of stepping into that. And she's, I think, going to help Tamar to go where she needs to go as well. And Rayma is missing out. That's another big thing about this episode is we don't see Thomas or Rayma. We only see Thomas during the 2x2 for like one moment, a couple of different moments with John, obviously, but then we don't see him at all through the rest of the episode, and we don't see Rayma either. So I wonder what's happening with their whole marriage proposal. Is it going well, or does that mean it's going badly? It's hard to say with Kaufney. So going to be interesting to kind of see that as well. But here in this scene, Mary and Tamar really interesting to see Tamar's journey and seeing how she's still kind of stuck in, you know, a little bit of that pagan-y world, a little bit of that, you know, I don't know what you would call it exactly, but, you know, a world before Jesus. She is still stuck in that a little bit. And while she may be saved, maybe she's, you know, she does see Jesus as the Messiah, she's still struggling with some of this other stuff. So, hey, if you like that small piece of this live stream, the whole thing's like 2.5, 3 hours long, and you can watch the whole thing right now over on our Patreon. Really easy to sign up, $5, $10, or $25 a month. And this is the best way that you can help to support our ministry and our channel here on YouTube. So I'd love to see you over there. Anyway, see you on the next one. Peace.